it on my phone, but I just don't want to mention it because.
No, that's fine. So
I pulled that face because I started a live stream, and that's where the archive started. So I want people who click on that, once it's done, to be terrified when they click on the link. They'll just see me going like, should be fun.
There's an ATM out in the hallway.
Yeah, if I'm not in here, I'll be at the front desk.
Okay.
Okay?
Can you sing it for me?
Yes. I'm going to be up at the front desk.
No, it's not. Yeah, I'll wait for his panel and then I'll.
Okay. Yep. We didn't get rid of Windblade. I just
Then have him resell it.
whatever is easiest.
What
did you have?
The necklace and
I like the shirt and I'm gonna probably put the t-shirt.
So I have 60.
Well, I'm definitely.
If you have that, yeah, I'll do that.
Probably put extra to see it again.
It's gonna be a slideshow. Oh, no worries, no worries. I just figure if someone's watching the live stream, they'll be able to see the slides this way.
I just realized I didn't auction off Windblade.
What?
Oh no! I have a Windblade. Anyone want to buy Windblade for the auction?
I'm broke.
Yeah, how you spend all my money?
Anybody want to make an offer on Windblade? Say 15, start.
I let that pass.
Huh?
Sure. 15.
15? Can do 15? Do I have anything else? 20? 20?
I've got one.
20? I'll do 15. Are you good with that?
Make sure that link works.
Anyone who needs to buy their stuff, I'm going to go up to the front desk. And I will have it up there with a list. You just need to come and check in, and I'll either, if you want to pay with a card, I can do that up there as well. Yeah, she sorted me up. Yep.
So
Where's your bow tie?
Right in my pocket.
we're almost ready. We're almost ready. Don't worry. We're almost ready. You. Where's my PowerPoint gone? There it is. And we're going to do presenter view. Hey, it's working. Okay. I'm going to film myself during this panel, so I apologize in advance for my vanity. But y'all just saw me fixing my hair on a webcam live stream. So.
Exclusive edition.
So here's the first little lesson about making media. Let's say you have separate audio running and then you have a camera over there. How do you synchronize your sound? That's how you synchronize your sound. I do it later. Okay. Hi, everybody. I am here to do a fan media panel. I'm at TFexpo in Wichita, Kansas, and hopefully all of you in the room already know that that's where this convention is, because we're at the end.
If we don't, we're screwed.
If you don't know you're in Kansas right now, then something Wizard of Oz joke. I'm going to talk about fan media today. We're going to start off with who I am and what I do, because maybe you don't know who I am or what I do. My name is Christopher Vangelis. That's not my real name, but it looked really funny when I typed it. I do videography. I also do podcastography, which is a word I made up 2 nights ago. Now, am I an expert about anything I'm talking about? No. I am probably going to get a few things very much colored by my own biases and tastes, so do not take what I say as gospel. Just take it as an opinion coming from someone who's up on a podium. Maybe that means something. Generally, I don't trust podium people. So am I an expert? No. I just do it a lot. We're going to first talk about podcasting, because that's the audio thing. We're going to kind of ramp through the 3 things I like to do. So in podcasting, if you don't know what it is, it's a classic talk radio style format. It's pretty easy to produce because it's as easy as having a conversation with your friends. If you've got a couple of friends you can sit down with and just put a mic between all of you and just start talking, you've made a podcast. The hard part comes in file hosting and RSS feeds, which, as time goes on, I think might become a bit obsolete and not really worth worrying about too much. There are a lot of options like Podbean, SoundCloud, a couple other podcast hosting sites. Generally, if you want to have a hosting site that won't issue money because they're going to create for you, don't know how to do your stuff shows up in iTunes, Right now, YouTube is actually a pretty decent option for an audio podcast if you have a way of turning it into a video you can upload, because so long as you aren't putting movies up or, you know, entire songs or something like that.
I still do it.
Well, yeah, they have robots that also might read your voices as 1994, which actually happened to a video a friend of mine made. But it's an option, and YouTube has a built-in subscription thing, and a lot of people, to me, still ridiculous, even though I do it. So I feel like that might be a place podcasting goes. Also, this is talking about audio podcasting. There are also video podcasts, which are cameras, and it makes a lot more sense to go on YouTube for that, of course. If you want to do some podcasting, you're going to need microphones. Ideally, nice microphones. I just want to really carefully and quietly, you know, without pushing too much, say it might be worth getting a good microphone for a podcast. The Blue Yeti is still a common, affordable workhorse. It's a condenser quality microphone, usually runs around $99, but often goes on sale. Just keep checking Amazon. USB headsets are a decent alternative. They tend to sound pretty nice, especially when crushed down to like 64 kbps. Condenser quality sound is what's desirable, and condenser, in a nutshell, is like a very high quality microphone. It's two plates that are charged with electricity to hover, and they capture the sound that goes between them at an extremely high quality. That's what the Blue Yeti does for you at a pretty affordable price. Anyway, let's talk about online video, because some people who buy toys like to watch video reviews of toys. Some people who are into toys and stuff like to watch interviews with people who work on those things. People also tend to be into checking out filmed builds, like Lego-style builds or model kit-style builds. Let's quickly talk about film builds. They're a vicarious experience for the viewer. That's why I started doing them. I was watching a channel that would build Games Workshop models at extremely slow pace, long videos of like literally gluing these models together. There was something about that vicarious experience I found quite enjoyable and borderline relaxing. So I found through doing just small Lego kits and stuff, people tend to like to watch something get assembled while you talk over it. It's also, if you want to do live streaming, a very straightforward live stream activity, because it is literally, I'm going to stream me going from point A to point B, and I'm probably going to talk during it. If you have someone there with you, they can read your chat, ask you some stuff while you're building. If that doesn't, you know, confuse you too much, you can answer questions while you're building. And if you are going to try doing this, and it's fun, start with small kits and then stick to small kits, unless you're doing something with a lot of post-production to cut out extraneous footage, or it's like a special event. And when I say small kits, let's say in terms of brick building, 200 pieces is about as high as you should go, or it's going to take so much longer than you expect. Let me tell you, I did a 550-some Mega Bloks kit, and that took about 2.5 hours, and I was not expecting that to happen. And it's not the first time that's happened to me. Also, if you get into doing this and you also really enjoy construction toys, sometimes savor that experience for yourself. Nothing sucks more than buying like giant kits, stacking them all up and thinking, I should wait till I do a live stream for all of these, because speaking from experience, you just end up with a stack of Lego kits and you look at it and realize that's about $400 of Lego you bought and never built. So always have fun with your construction stuff, first and foremost. We also got a quick slide here on interviews, which didn't animate. So there it all is. I hope you read it. Let's continue on. Now, interviews often involve talking to somebody and asking them questions. As you can see up there, I was going to have this little thing that would say, wow, you typed that out as an actual bullet point, because when I typed it, I thought it looked really silly. The thing about interviews, you want to have good audio, because interviews, as you can see, they repurpose really well as podcasts. And generally, an interview video, some people will watch the video. A lot of people tend to turn on an interview, then click to another tab and listen to it while they do other stuff. And they'll click back now and then to see, you know, someone's face if something crazy happens. If you're going to do an interview, and it can be really fun and really exciting if you get the opportunity to interview someone who works on something you care about, think about it beforehand, and then if you can, also try to avoid common questions, because think of it as you want to make your time with this person more unique than what you could already look up in text or video or audio. And if you're doing an interview, of course, try to feature who you're interviewing and make it like a conversation, make it fun. And that makes it kind of have that podcast quality that tends to engage a lot of people. Anyway, let's talk about that's what lots of people tend to think about when they think of Transformers fan media right now. And I will say briefly, there is so much other fan media, and once upon a time I tried to cover it all in a panel, and that was a bloated PowerPoint presentation. But I mean, look no further than some of the stuff that was just being auctioned. There are artists in our community who do incredible 2D art, hand-drawn art, CG art, 3D printable art, Plushology's entire range of stuff that she makes. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff out there outside of just this small digital realm I'm talking about. But in terms of video reviews, in 2015, it seems a lot of people still watch them, which in a small way surprises me. I wasn't sure if this was some kind of fad from the 08s and 07s that would have gone away by now, but people still seem to want to see a video review. It's relevant infotainment media for collectors. That's how I tend to enjoy it, and I've started to feel that that's how I think a lot of people enjoy it. It's kind of like it's like informational television tailored towards your tastes, and usually if you're watching it, there's some aspect of entertainment involved as well. And with toys in particular, if you have video, you're able to represent this three-dimensional space, the Z-axis, because I'm from Canada, and the tactile experience for Transformers, transforming them in a way that cannot quite be captured the same way in text and still images. That's the advantage, the potential that video brings, is to share the space of the figure with the viewer rather than just a report on what it does. And if you want to do video reviews, I would just say go make one and don't worry about it. Just make one. And then based on that first one you made, see what happens, see what you think, and then operate from there. In any kind of creative medium, you learn by doing and by always creating. And it's a common thing to happen to creatives to get hung up and feel like they've got to do something different and then just stop making things. A lot of those folks then end up not making anything for a long time and hitting this period of, writer's block, etc. And in my personal experience, and that of some people I've talked to, the best way to get out of that is just to start making stuff and not worry about whether or not it is exactly what you want your next thing to be. Just create and learn from what you do. In improv terms, be ready to fail and have fun failing, because sometimes those failures are successes. And then find your voice in your videos the natural way. Don't try to force it. Don't sit down and think, how am I going to be a marketable YouTube personality? How am I going to be in that weird Minecraft-style toy line with all those gaming YouTubers who I actually don't know who any of them are? But one of them looked like a friend of mine, and I was super disappointed when it wasn't a friend of mine. Just, as I said, make videos and let it happen naturally. What you find to be the thing that you have fun doing and saying, and what people who are watching what you do have fun hearing and seeing. As for equipment, if you want to do video stuff, you are probably going to need a camera. Here's the fun bit about the year 2015. You probably have a decent camera in your phone. Most smartphones now can do 720p. If you light it well enough, it's good enough for now. If you're just starting stuff off and you just want to give it a try. You just need to stabilize the camera. Don't hold it and do the review, because you will end up not enjoying what you see. Trust me. The big conversation right now is camcorders versus DSLRs and what I call fads in the future. Now, I'm filming on a DSLR over here. That's a Canon 70D. A couple years ago, it became quite the fad for digital media makers, video people, small-time filmmakers to go to DSLR because it offered high quality at a much lower price than really expensive camcorders. The field has changed now. DSLRs are by no means poor, but they actually put quite a low ceiling on you. Like, what you get is kind of what you get. And now companies like Blackmagic are beginning to offer 4K camcorder style filming, and not even 4K, but just really good, like the Pocket Cinema, another model that's that recently came out, whose name I cannot remember at this moment. There are a lot of options returning in the camcorder realm that are on par with what everyone was saying the DSLR realm is going to, it's going to change the field of everything. There's never like a right answer for what to get. Just like in my case, I happened to see this piece at a future shop for a good price, and I had a lot of coupons, and it was on sale. It is, at the time, was considered to be one of the best DSLRs for filmmaking, so the cards fell together like that. There are plenty of other cameras that are just as good, and at the end of the day, your camera is not going to dictate the quality of what you make. It just dictates the picture quality. Lighting and audio quality are incredibly important. And in fact, if you have a decent smartphone that can do 720p, and you've got like a $20 tripod to clip onto it, focus on that stuff first. You need, get at least 2 lamps, if not a third one over top. Set up, one on this side, one on this side, blasting 2 crisscrossing beams to make this beautiful center core of chewy goodness. And try to get a decent microphone, or at least decent audio quality of some kind, because low quality audio will murder anything you make. Even if you have a $5,000, $9,000 camera, if your audio is no good, it slices the perceived production value in half, if not worse than that. And when I say there, for example, the H4n, that's what this microphone is. There is a cheaper version of this called the H1 by Zoom. runs for about 99 bucks. It's like this, but this thing has all these jacks in the back. The H1 is just two joint crisscross, very powerful condenser microphones. Highest quality audio you could ask for, especially if you're just starting to do stuff. And it also just doubles as a great way to capture audio in general. It's just a little stick, runs on like 1 AA or something. And there's also competing products from companies like Tascam. You know, just Google around a bit, look for Zoom H1 and everything similar. And if you're giving presentations, try to find better timing to take a sip of water, like not when you're in the middle of making a point. As far as equipment, one last thing is the background. Now, obviously, you'd like to feature the toy you're filming by minimizing the background, but you don't really need to go out and just buy a light box day one. Like that light box is another one of those things that I would say wait until see how you feel about what you're doing. Some backdrops that are as simple as a desk can have a lot of character to them. The main thing is just don't have it be cluttered. Don't have a lot of different hundreds very distracting colors there of, you know, a giant shelf of toys in the back. But if you've got like a computer desk, there's a monitor visible, maybe 1 or 2 things that you like, you know, on the sill of your desk, your faux windsill, if you will. You can just leave it, like see how it looks. It goes back to the whole point of just make something, see how it looks, and then continue on from there. But once you've made things, they don't just appear on YouTube. You do need to do the word that I love, but most people don't, which is editing. In my experience, a lot of people don't like editing. If you don't like editing, but you like making films or you like making videos, don't worry, you're in the majority. When I went to the film school I went to, me and maybe 1.5 other people actually liked editing out of a class of about 30 people, which made it real easy to find a career path to follow afterwards, because turns out a lot of people would prefer to be a writer or a director than an editor. If you are editing and you're just starting off, you are probably using one of those 2 programs. iMovie, if you're on a Mac, Windows Movie Maker, if you're not. iMovie, to my limited experience, and this is like kind of cutting off around the year 06, tends to be a bit of a better piece of software than Windows Movie Maker. I've been hearing Windows Movie Maker does not crash quite as randomly now. Like now it's only kind of like 1 dice roll every 5 seconds rather than every 2 seconds. The next step up that a lot of people tend to talk about is stuff like Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, or Avid. By the way, if anyone like makes YouTube videos about toy reviews and uses Avid to edit them, I'd love to know who you are. These programs are expensive. You can pirate them, of course, because who's going to stop you? It's 2015. It's our cyberpunk future. But you don't have to go that high right away. There are a couple of other options. Right now, Blackmagic has a program called DaVinci Resolve version 12. Their public beta right now is free, and I believe they are intending to make that a competing piece of software against the above listed editor softwares. So that's one thing you could look at that you could at least play around with, and you don't have to drop a bunch of money on it immediately. Another option that a lot of people tend to gloss over is Sony Vegas, which for the purposes of making YouTube toy reviews is completely functional. It's completely functional for short filmmaking even. It's a lot less expensive, and if you don't want to go straight into like the goal of I'm eventually going to go to Sundance with these toy reviews. By the way, if you are that person, I'd love to know who you are. It's totally worth giving a shot, and having it legally is not that expensive. And from what I'm told, getting it illegally is not that hard, but I'm supposed to say you shouldn't do that. By the way, an NLE, if you want a piece of jargon to drop the next time you're at a pub quiz, that means non-linear editor. The reason why they call it non-linear is because you used to edit by having a table with physical film on it that you would cut with a blade, and you'd have to edit it in a linear fashion. Non-linear means you can go here in the timeline, do stuff, then you can go over here and do stuff, and then you can take this and put it over there and do stuff to it, because it's not a linear process. It's a carryover term from the old days of editing, and it's kind of fun to drop it on people if they don't know what it is. That's my convention exclusive gift to you. Anyway, in terms of digital media, where are we and where do we go? I like to call this whole realm, podcasting, videos, everything, enthusiast media. And I feel like it should begin with enthusiasm first. It should be something you do because you love what you're talking about and you love the subject matter. Like if you're a Transformers fan and you love Transformers, then you want to talk about Transformers toys and you want to have your thoughts delivered. All that said, don't be afraid to choose to take it seriously once you started doing it and it feels like the right thing. Like, if you've been making YouTube videos for like a year and it feels good and there are a lot of people like talking about it and making you feel good about doing it, and you choose to say to yourself, I want to get a better camera, I want to get better equipment, I want to more regularly make videos, or I want to have a schedule. Don't worry about that. That's normal if it's something that clicks with you. Just bear in mind, creative mediums are rough to break into. Not just the word YouTube, but even like the TV and film industry. Being an artist who is working and supporting oneself with their art, it is difficult to do. Creative mediums can also be intensely rewarding, because when you get something for doing something you love, and if there's no red dot on there, you should probably do the stop-start thing. Actually, you know what, do this, what does the time say on there?
17:53.
Oh, wow, I'm cruising. Okay, never mind. If you're doing something that you really like to do and you are getting reward from it, like if you're able to pay your rent with something that you love to make, there is no better feeling in the world. The first day that I worked on a TV show as an editor and got my first paycheck for editing things in Final Cut was one of the best days of my life, because it validated this thing that even now I still have trouble parsing as anything but a hobby. So don't be afraid of the preconception, the whole thing of like, you can't do YouTube as a job. Don't think of it as a job at first. Like, have a real job, you know? But it's a question that a lot of people tend to drop on creatives really fast, especially friends and family. Like, I just find it's often the case of, say you have someone who's really good at drawing and they're like, I kind of want to take this drawing more seriously. There's always a voice in the attic who's just like, but you can't support yourself with that, nullify it. It's like, that's not the way to think about it, man. Like, don't be a lunatic. Don't go like, man, I can draw a comic page in 2 hours, I'm gonna go work at Marvel. Like, you know, there's extremes to everything, and just find those grayscale waves in between, you know, and find what feels natural and that keeps you happy and afloat, of course. Balance, as with all things in life. And in the case of our hobby, the main reason I think you should pursue enthusiast media, particularly things like reviews, interviews, podcasts, is to be a voice and enhance your own hobby. Do it to say what you want to say and see if anyone has something to say back to you. This is all also a very friendly way of saying, don't go into any of these kind of things on day one thinking, all right, by week number 53, I'm going to have this many subscribers. And then by 2 years in, I'm going to be making my own rent. And then by 3 years in, I'm going to be getting invited to VidCon. Like, going in with a game plan of how you're going to get noticed will only end in disappointment unless you roll, you know, 77 on the 100-sided die. Do it to be a part of the community you're already a part of, just in a way to bring something to it and enhance it in a way that you think you can. And if you don't, then you don't. But that goes back to that thing I said a while ago. You just got to give it a try. And if it doesn't work at first, learn from it and just keep trying until it feels like it's not something you want to do anymore, then stop trying. But if it is something you want to do, then keep trying. And if you feel like right now the field is something that just won't work for you, everything is constantly changing. YouTube has been around for a while. There is absolutely no guarantee, there's a good chance, but there's no guarantee YouTube will be the be-all and end-all of streaming video. The current state of how a lot of people on YouTube make money from what they do, Google AdSense, is based on pre-roll and post-roll ads and pop-up ads, which are a glass ceiling that like is cracking further and further every passing day as viewers and creators alike are sick and tired of it. Like, does anyone in here know what ad block is? Anyone use ad block? I make a decent amount of money off of putting videos up on YouTube and having ads run on them, but I don't watch those ads because they suck. And I don't blame anyone who doesn't want to watch them. Like, if you want to, you know, turn off your ad block for someone's videos to support that particular creator, that's also totally cool. But if that's too much work for you, that's fine. Like, they suck to watch. That's like, if someone wants to watch the ads specifically to support somebody, that is a big ass favor. But that's not going to be around forever. That's not going to be the only way to do things. Look no further than platforms like Patreon that are trying to exist as a way to erase that AdSense middleman between the creator and the I guess viewer in this case, or listener, or patron. And I don't think Patreon's going to be the only one. It's the loudest one right now, but everything is changing. DSLRs used to be the be-all and end-all of small-scale video making. They certainly aren't going to be for much longer if the current state of stuff like black magic continues where it's going. So don't worry. If everything feels like it doesn't work for you now, just make some stuff and wait and watch. Everything will change. And that is part of the fun of it, to me anyway, is that, especially in fields which are based so much on technology, like, you can't really look at it and go like, I know for sure what's going to happen 5 years from now. To me, that's part of the whole excitement of this thing. Like, I don't know what streaming video will be 5 years from now. It might be something that's locked in a screen bolted to your forehead. It might be fed directly into your brain. I might be filming with an augmented reality camera, so like you're not even watching the thing on the screen. You're just walking down the street, you go to Toys R Us, you see a toy, and my face starts to like pop out of the front blister. I'm like, let me tell you about what I think about this thing. And that's a terrifying vision of a horrible future. Anyway, that's all I have for slides. So if anyone wants to ask any questions, I'm happy to answer stuff, unless it's about money I owe you, in which case now's the time for me to tell you I'm not actually Evangelist. My name is Toy Guru. I run He-Man, the He-Man company. Maybe you've seen our products. They involve He-Man. He's a man. Yes?
So who do you watch when you're not watching yourself or editing your own things?
Well, I figured out this wicked array of mirrors to put around everything that I'm working with. So like, even when I'm not watching me, I'm watching me. But as far as like toy media, I mean, right now, my favorite person to watch is a fellow named Thew Adams. He's got a YouTube channel called Barutazaru, because he is a jolly, wonderful fellow.
He doesn't make enough.
We need to get him over here to North America for a thing, but every time I think about that, I'm like, I don't know any realistic way to do that. I think he's going to auto assembly, which sounds pretty cool. But yeah, I like the attitude he brings. He works in some form of media for his daily job, and yeah, he brings a really good energy. He brings what I would call the distilled essence of what was fun about the UK Transformers YouTube community of the late aughts, when it was a lot of people doing vlog style videos where it was all still under the banner of Toy Review, but it was a lot more of a personable, like this is what I think about this. This is my report to you, the other members of the UK community. Like that atmosphere, especially in the late aughts, was something that like I looked at and then, like, to me it was amazing. Like these tight-knit community of a lot of faces speaking to each other, not just about toys, but about topics as well. And it certainly hasn't gone away, but I think I just take it for granted now, which means whenever it does go away, I'm going to be a horrible person. So yeah, that's my primary answer. Every now and then, like, I'll watch Jang Bricks because he puts up 5 million videos, and sometimes I just want to know what Lego looks like, and it's the easiest way for me to do it. Do you mean just in toy reviews, or like? Because I take. Well, I take a huge amount of inspiration from formerly Whiskey Media. The main site to look at, of course, is a video game site called Giant Bomb. They have some video folks who, in the space of like a video a day, a video game site, or when it was Whiskey Media, several different video a day sites about different topics. The sense of community and regularly checking in on this group of people and the way they delivered their content, I found incredibly inspiring. And the way they were producing it every day as well. That is always what I kind of hold as like one of my best examples of something I'd love to do, is that kind of atmosphere. It's just very personality driven, but entirely focusing on the content, not on the people. The personalities are just there. Yeah, I don't know. That's it. Yes, young man in the front.
The subtitles in your videos.
Yes.
Cameraman. Where did you get the inspiration for that? Do you plan on continuing it? I know for a while there was like a whole takeover scenario.
Yeah, that all came from the fact that, now you know that whole thing I talked about how you should just make a video and just put it up and then operate from there. So when I wanted to make toy reviews in 2008, I had about 3 different attempts to review a toy. I actually never ended up making a posted review for. And every time I made it, I watched it and I saw things wrong with it and thought, well, I should just do it all over again. And then about attempt number 3, I was like, this is really stupid. So I thought, I'll just make a video, and then if I see anything wrong, I'll just call it out, and then I'll feel better about it, because then at least I'll feel like I've mentioned it. And that's where that all started. I still like doing them. I get mixed feedback on whether or not they should stick around, but it's so mixed to the point that I have had feedback along the lines of they're not harsh on you anymore. They used to be harsher. And I've also had feedback of like they said something way too harsh, and I feel really weird that you're the one who wrote it. So I don't know. For now, they're a thing that is fun for me to do. But yeah, any other questions? Did everyone have a good TFexpo? That's my question.
Yeah.
Because I had a good time for when I was here, from about 1 o'clock till now. I got held up well, not in Chicago. I got held away from Chicago for about 2 hours because Chicago apparently has weather, and I've contacted people I know in Chicago to see if they can do something about it. I went on Twitter and said, "Am I supposed to send a letter to your president about this?" And I did not receive responses that I believe were serious. But yeah, that about does it for our little fan media panel here. I have no idea if anyone is actually watching the stream version. Should we check in on them?
Sure.
Let's go take a look. Because there should be... Oh man, there's parts missing from this. And I look like a dork. Holy crap.
We should blend in.
My head's all around. Yeah, I can't see the chat whatsoever, so I have no idea if anyone was taking a look. Oh man, this is really weird. Yeah, whatever. We'll take a look at that later on. Well, thanks to all of you for coming by. I know that we're in like the between closure of the dealer room before the dinner kind of like moment of respite for you to all kind of relax and not be running around and being incredibly stressed out or carrying 10 pounds of toys with you. What am I doing?
Hey, if you don't know by now, man, you shouldn't be doing this.
Goldfish memory, man. Yeah, thanks to all of you for coming by. I like doing these, and I want to thank the TFexpo dudes for inviting me over to do this. I love talking about whatever, and hopefully that was of some assistance to at least somebody in the audience. That's the little victory I look for. Unless what I was talking about, and one of you is like, "Hey, there's nothing wrong with Avid," like someone in the back. I don't know. There's a lot of people. If you don't know what Avid is one of the very first digital editors, and it was like the crossover program for a lot of working physical, like linear editors. And so a lot of TV companies have Avid just like stitched into their workflow, like down to the bone through the sinew, and they cannot get it out. So a lot of jobs to this day still ask for Avid. And I don't actually know anyone who uses Avid that actually likes Avid. But depending where you're working, you kind of need to know what Avid is still. In my school, we worked with a Windows 98 version of Avid for about 3 weeks. One student nearly had a nervous breakdown trying to edit a simple clip because it certainly doesn't work like it does on the fancy machines. So that's the whole story with Avid. If you know anyone who uses Avid, that's your little thing you can use to get some prods and digs in. Anyway, yeah, thanks for coming out. If that's all, then that's all.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. I seriously can't see the chat. I'm going to pull the HDMI out if that's okay. That might fix it.
Hotel Wi-Fi, I swear, man.
I'm going to stop this.
Oh, just push that button again. If the red... Whoa! Okay. There was some huge, crazy flicker thing going on. Oh, man, my resolution's crazy. Well, I got to end this stream. So... Bye-bye!